president who is not in it for himself, but for others. A president who doesn't divide us, but unites us. A president who appeals not to the worst in us, but to the best. A president who cares less about his TV ratings and more about the American people. A president who looks not to settle scores, but to find solutions. A president guided not by wistful thinking, but by science, reason, and fact. That's the kind of president I hope to be. I'm running as a proud Democrat, but I will govern as an American president. I'll work with Democrats and Republicans. I'll work as hard for those who don't support me as for those who do. That's the job of a president, a duty of care for everyone. This place, Warm Springs, is a reminder that though broken, each of us can be healed. That as a people and a country, we can overcome this devastating virus. That we can heal a suffering world. And yes, we can restore our soul and save our country. In his last hours, President Roosevelt was at work on a speech to be delivered the next day. In it, he was to say, quote, "Today, we must cultivate the science of human relationships, the ability of all people, of all kinds, to live together and work together in the same world at peace." To live together and work together. That's how I see America. That's how I see the presidency. And that's how I see the future. I tell you this from my heart. I believe America in an America of hope, not fear. Unity, not division. Love, not hate. The presidency, though, is only one part of the American chorus. History isn't only a story of the great and the famous. No. Our history is a story of we, the people, of all of us, together. I've long said the story of America is a story of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Change in our country comes when the voices of the powerless reach the ears of the powerful. When those whose names we'll never know, but who risk their lives to, in the words of Dr. King, bend the arc of the moral universe toward justice. Bending that arc is the work of our time. But it'll take all of us, red states, blue states, Republicans, Democrats, conservatives, and liberals. And I believe from the bottom of my heart we can do it. People ask me, why are you so confident, Joe? Because we are the United States of America. There's nothing the American people can't do and been unable to do when we put our minds to it. The news of Franklin Delano Roosevelt's death went out on the wires. An editor in Chicago turned to his colleagues and said, "Clear the decks for action." So I say to you today, if you give me the honor of serving as your president, clear the decks for action. For we will act. We will act on the first day of my presidency to get COVID under control. We'll act to pass my economic plan that will finally reward work, not wealth in this country. We'll act to pass my health care plan to provide affordable, accessible health care for every American and drug prices that are dramatically lower. We'll act to pass the Biden climate plan, meeting the challenges of a climate crisis while creating millions of good-paying, high-paying labor jobs. We'll act to address systemic racism in our country. We'll act to give working people a fair shot again in this country. And we'll act to restore our faith in democracy and our faith in one another. Today, we're facing a public health crisis of historic proportions. And with winter at hand, it's getting worse. Just last Friday, 83,000 new cases in one day. Saturday, another 83,000 cases. Nearly 1,000 people a day are dying. Another 200,000 deaths are expected over the next several months. And the president keeps telling us not to worry. He keeps telling us we're turning the corner, is his quote. He says, removed from reality and as offensive as when he told us the virus affects virtually nobody, just the elderly with heart conditions. Virtually nobody, just the elderly with heart conditions. As if they don't matter. And when he said in response to the number of deaths reaching 1,000, he said, it is what it is. Well, it is what it is because he is who he is. In the spring, the president declared in his voice as commander-in-chief, says commander-in-chief, he was going to wage war on the virus. Instead, he shrugged, he swaggered, and he surrendered. And then his chief of staff, just last week, made a stunning admission, an admission that I believe but never thought he'd say, saying, quote, we're not going to control the pandemic, end of quote. We're not going to control the pandemic. It's a capitulation. It's a waving of a white flag. It's a window into the shocking truth about this White House that they've never really tried. Think about all the frontline health professionals who've risked and some given their lives for the last 9 months in this pandemic. Think about all the first responders. Think about all the grocery store clerks, the drivers, the delivery drivers, the trucks, teachers, parents, with their kids home from school. Think about all those who've lost their jobs. Think about all those who have been infected by the virus. Think about all those who have died. They were giving their all while their president was giving up. Well, I'm here to tell you, we can and we will control this virus. As president, I will never wave the white flag of surrender. Just imagine where we'd be today if the president had embraced wearing masks instead of mocking it. Imagine where we'd be today with a president who practiced social distancing instead of holding super spreader events. Imagine where we'd be with a comprehensive system of testing and tracing. I first put forward a detailed plan on how to deal with this virus back in March. This administration ignored it. Then I released several more detailed plans in the months that followed, the most recent just last week. This administration has yet to offer a single plan. Yes, one of the reasons why one of the most prestigious medical journals in the world, the New England Journal of Medicine, called the president, quote, dangerously incompetent. He went on to say the president had turned a crisis into a tragedy. I'm ready to act. I know what to do. And starting on day one of my presidency, we will do it. I've talked about the battle for the soul of America since the very beginning of this campaign.